Welcome back to another episode of Truth and Wellness, where we dig deep into paths toward genuine health transformations. I'm Pavel Grey, here with Dr. Kent, who's ready to share his expertise on a topic that frustrates many: weight loss without the dreaded word, dieting. Welcome, Dr. Kent.
Thanks, Pavel. I'm thrilled to be here and to challenge the conventional wisdom around dieting. Often, the whole idea of dieting associates losing weight with losing joy in your meals and self-punishment through restriction, doesn't it?
Absolutely. People end up fixating on calories, banning entire food groups, and, before long, they feel deprived. But then, those habits often don't last, and many end up in a cycle that just continually leaves them frustrated.
Right? And that's a huge part of the problem. When you drastically cut calories, you're basically setting a trap for your metabolism. It slows down considerably and starts to conserve energy at the expense of muscle and mental well-being.
It seems counterintuitive. You think, eat less, lose more. But it's really not that simple, is it? Maybe you could enlighten our listeners on how a reassessed view of calories can actually aid sustainable weight loss?
Sure thing. The key is in creating a modest calorie deficit. This means consuming slightly fewer calories than you burn, but not so much that you feel deprived. Aiming for a deficit of around 300 to 500 calories daily leads to sustainable weight loss, about half a pound to a pound a week. Now, I know that seems slow, especially when we're used to hearing about miraculous 5-pound drops per week, but it's sustainable.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about thinking long term, yes, building habits you can maintain. I always emphasize consistency in yoga practice too, rather than chasing rapid results.
Exactly. And it's not just about the calorie count. Prioritizing nutrients like protein and fiber plays an essential role. Protein helps keep you satiated longer than carbs or fats. It also helps preserve your muscle mass, which is crucial because muscle loss slows down metabolism.
That's interesting, Dr. Kent. What about fiber? We hear it's great for digestion, but how does it fit into the weight loss picture?
Fiber is fantastic for making you feel full without a high calorie cost. It slows digestion and adds bulk to your diet, which helps you stay satisfied. Aiming for 25 to 35 grams daily from sources like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and legumes can naturally help you eat less.
That's an approach most can digest without feeling punished. And speaking of survival from past episodes, we've discussed enjoying what you eat, a significant part of living well.
Really, it's about avoiding the pitfall of classifying foods as bad or off limits. Restricted diets often do that, while long-term success really rests on flexibility. You enjoy your favorites in moderation. Practicing something like the 80 to 20 rule can make an impactful difference.
I love the 80 to 20 rule concept. It's all about eating nutrient-dense foods 80% of the time and leaving room for indulgences to satisfy those occasional cravings. I've seen this approach work wonders for maintaining a yoga lifestyle without feeling guilty.
Guilt is definitely one thing that shouldn't be on the menu. When you do indulge, just enjoy it and move on without the gloom and doom. Practice portion control and be strategic about frequency. This way, food becomes enjoyable, not merely fuel, and sustainability takes root in joy instead of sacrifice.
It's truly liberating when you perceive food in that way. You know, Dr. Kent, many people often assume exercise is the primary trigger for weight loss, but your approach suggests otherwise. Could you elaborate on how movement fits into this puzzle?
Exercise is essential for health and body composition, yet it's secondary for actual weight loss. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. It doesn't burn as many calories as often presumed and can sometimes lead to increased appetite, causing calorie consumption to bounce right back up.
That's enlightening. I know from teaching yoga that even though it's fantastic for mobility, strength, and balance, its calorie-burning aspect should not overshadow its other benefits.
Exactly. Exercise like resistance training preserves muscle, which is key since muscle helps in keeping the metabolism efficient. It improves moods, reduces emotional eating through stress management, and positively affects health markers like cardiovascular health.
And that's what often gets people day to day in real life settings, their emotional attachments to food. On the topic of emotions and awareness, are there methods for tracking food intake without the reminder of rigid dieting?
Tracking food is more about awareness than obsession. This doesn't mean you need to micromanage every morsel. Use apps like MyFitnessPal for understanding food patterns. But for some, Portioning with hand sizes or taking pictures of meals creates mindful eating without inducing stress.
That seems much more adaptive for various lifestyles. And while we're on this, any common pitfalls you'd advise listeners to avoid?
Certainly. One major mistake is undereating, as it slows metabolism, losing valuable muscle, not allowing for a sustainable deficit during fat loss phases. Another is overlooking calories from oils or condiments which sneak in. Finally, understanding that progress isn't linear. It's about the overarching trend, not daily fluctuations.
Thank you, Dr. Kent. These insights feel like a true carte blanche toward making meaningful changes. Any advice on maintaining these long-term for those achieving their goals?
Maintaining weight loss is all about continuing the habits that helped you lose weight. Keep monitoring without becoming obsessed, staying active, and holding on to those high-protein, high-fiber diets. Most importantly, making these habits your new normal. Sustainability is what locks in that success.
And that, folks, is where we'll wrap up today's enlightening talk. Thank you, Dr. Kent, for imparting such knowledge and empathy in this ongoing wellness journey. Remember, listeners, sustainable weight loss doesn't mean enduring suffering. It means embracing a balanced, nourished life.